make sure that you outline your customer journey. If you are taking somebody from point A to point, Z, what are all the steps that have to happen? What are all the micro wins that have to happen in order for them to get to end point Z? Hey, it's Joel Irway, and welcome to another very special episode of Sold with Webinars. And today we are going to be talking about part 6 of our high ticket courses book preview. Now, if you've been following along with me, you know that I've been doing a preview section of our brand new book, High Ticket Courses. And if you want to grab yourself a copy, you can go to book.highticketcourses.com. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of your customer journey. Now, when I talk about the customer journey with a customer or a student or a client or whoever, somebody that I'm just consulting, sometimes they'll go into a blank stare because they don't really know what the customer journey is. And so back in the day when I started to launch my own courses and launch my own coaching programs, I didn't have a clear idea of what a customer journey was. And so I want to paint you a picture here, and I want you to start to really imagine what your customer journey is. Now, your customer journey is meant to be able to take somebody from point A to point B. And when you set this up correctly, they will be a customer of yours for life. Many times people think that there is just one destination that you are going to be taking your client. And in reality, there are many destinations that you can take your client. Now, this is kind of going into a little bit of an off topic here, but like when you think of like your offers, when you think of your core promise, and you think of like the main thing that you are giving your clients, you are delivering them a promise. And I want you to think about this in a way of breaking up your promises based on certain milestones that your clients are achieving. For instance, when I first launched my high ticket courses program, the big idea was to get clients to to the $10,000 to $30,000 per month level, right? Getting from $0 to $10,000 or $30,000 per month by developing simple lead gen and customer generation, customer acquisition systems. And once I got into that point, then it's like, okay, great, like they achieved that major milestone. But what people have to understand is that, nobody really wants to stop once they get to a certain milestone. Like if they get momentum, they are going to want to keep going, right? And so I never really had anything else to give them, right? My entire goal was to get them to that milestone, and then it was just kind of like, okay, well, there you go. Like we've achieved the goal. Congratulations, right? But your clients and your customers want to keep going. Like they're going to want to know like what's next. And the whole idea here of like understanding what your customer journey is speaking to the problems that they have to achieve that major milestone, but then also understanding that once you fulfill on that promise and fulfill on that obligation, they are now going to have other problems that you've helped create for them. And you are the perfect person to help give them the solution to those brand new problems. And if you don't understand that, then a couple of things can happen. Number one, you could be doing churn and burn, meaning like you just have to constantly produce more customers, more clients to maintain revenue. Or number two, you are going to just be losing out on a lot of lost income and a lot of lost potential because that you are their trusted advisor now. Like they've spent time with you, they're bought into your system. They're going to want to know, like, where do I go from here? And so I want you to understand that, like, getting crystal clear on what your customer journey is a very, very key component to having long-term success in any sort of business. Like, not even just high-ticket courses, but really any business. Because the idea here is to build a brand and build relationships with these clients, so they continue to have that relationship with you and pay over and over and over again. And so if we just kind of focus on like one major milestone and helping them achieve that one major milestone, and we don't focus on really what to do after that, then we're missing out on a ton of potential. And so the one thing that I really want you to focus on here is mapping out that customer journey, right? And the exercise that I go through with my clients that I take them through is, we're able to spin up actually a lot of really cool ideas when we go through this. And so I'll sit with them. I'll say, hey, okay, great. Like, I know I'm interested in, like, imagine that I'm your ideal prospect, right? I'm interested in your core promise. I want to pay for it. Here's my credit card. Go ahead and swipe it. What happens next? And so I literally get them to tell me like every step of the onboarding process and all the micro milestones and the macro milestones. Like, okay, we have an intake call. What happens on the intake call? Like, what do you need from me? What information do I need to provide for you so you can help coach me through the best way to get results? And then what happens after that? And then what happens after that? What happens after that? What does success look like? Like, when do I get my first win? And I start to map out all this stuff, because what people realize is that a lot of times, like, they get focused on the big goal, and that's great. But a lot of times we can really like fine tune it and zoom in on a mini goal, which is mini in the expert's mind. Like, they think that's just a micro goal, but in reality for the client, that could be a macro goal. And so when we go through this exercise and we really map out the customer journey and all the wins that they have along the way to their macro milestone, a lot of times we find other promises and other offers that we can create that helps us create that maximum customer journey. And sometimes, a lot of times, we figure out that there's easier ways to sell our programs by focusing on micro wins or these mini milestones that are actually a bigger deal than we give them credit for. And so I just kind of wanted to share that with you, because the customer journey is really, really important. A lot of people overlook the mini milestones that happen leading up to the big macro milestone. Like, my macro milestone inside of High Ticket Courses is to get you to $10,000 to $30,000 per month, right? And then I have clients who want to continue to scale past that, and I have other clients that just want to maintain that. They don't want to grow a big team. They don't want to, they don't really want to. They just want to maintain profitability and live that semi-retired life. And so, I have situations and I have ways to help both of those types of clients. And we've also created mini milestones and mini offers kind of leading up to that point. And so my whole point for you here today is make sure that you outline your customer journey. If you are taking somebody from point A to point, Z, what are all the steps that have to happen? What are all the micro wins that have to happen in order for them to get to end point Z? Make sense? And then figure out, like, okay, am I overselling this? Like, are there, are people willing to pay for going from point A to, say, point D, or from point A to point G, right? And so I'm just kind of using this as an explanation, but a lot of times we create these massive programs, these massive courses, and they can be really, really difficult to sell. But if we shorten them down and try and sell, let's say, instead of a program that goes from A to Z, what if we sold a program that goes from A to D or A to G, right? So that's my explanation for you, and I want you to kind of think about it in those terms, because a lot of times when I'm on these consulting calls, or I'm on intake calls for my mentorship clients, that's really what we do. Like, oh, I've got this big coaching program. Okay, well, take me through what happens once I sign up. I'm like, well, okay, and they take me through, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. I'm like, well, wait a second, okay, what happens here in step 3? Like, that sounds like a pretty big win. Oh yeah, Joel, it's like a huge win. Like, people get the biggest results. I'm like, okay, well, why don't we focus on that? So just a little food for thought here, a little bit of engagement, or a little bit of ways for you to think about your programs, rethink about your programs, and maybe it'll start to plant some seeds and some ideas for you. So that's what I've got for you today. So if you are interested, go to book.highticketcourses.com, grab your copy, enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next episode.